If you're a Pokemon fan, then there's a decent chance that you're banned from playing Pokemon at some point in your life, especially if you had overly religious parents. I was one of those kids. I loved Pokemon, but got told that by playing the games, I was rubbing the cock of Satan himself. This was really confusing to me at a young age. All my other friends were able to play Pokemon, and they never had a portal that leads directly to hell open up beneath them when they caught a Pikachu. So yeah, I was one of those affected by the wave of anti-Pokemon propaganda that spread across the Western world in the franchise's early days. But what caused this uprising against Pokemon? Well, my friends, that would be one of the darkest forces on this planet. A force that has caused millions of deaths, oppressed many cultures, and left them in ruin. That's right, Christianity. Christians hated Pokemon with a passion, and young Silas never had a clue as to why. And I'm sure the same can be said for lots of other kids back in the day. So years later, I took it upon myself to see if there was any actual reasoning for branding Pokemon as the mark of Lucifer. And yeah, I found something, but I'd be hard pressed to call it reasoning. But before I take a stab at dismantling an entire religion, make sure to check out my other stuff when you're done, and subscribe if you like it. Anyway, let's talk about why Christians hate Pokemon. To fully understand this, we have to go all the way back to the 1980s, during the era of what was called the Satanic Panic. The Satanic Panic was caused by numerous fake reports of children being abused and indoctrinated into Satanism. It's definitely understandable why something like this would cause a panic, even if the reports were fake. In 1988, a documentary by Geraldo Rivera titled Devil Worship: Exposing Satan's Underground aired on NBC and gave the station its highest rating in years. It goes without saying that a hit documentary like this would spread the paranoia, causing the panic to stretch on even further. Christians decided that pop culture was the source of this evil. Likely because during this time, the church attendance of young people began to drop as youth got swept up in modern pop culture. Since the beginning of the Satanic Panic, many games that involved summoning creatures of any kind, mainly Dungeons and Dragons, were branded as a gateway to the dark arts. To summarize this so far, Christians believed the pop culture that was turning youths away from the church was making them Satanists. Christians sure do know how to have fun, am I right, guys? Since the Satanic Panic spread into the 90s, this naturally led it on a collision course with the cultural phenomenon that would be Pokémon. When Pokémon captured the imagination of kids all over the world in 1996, Christians caught a whiff of fun being had, and naturally they thought, well, we have to go and ruin that. And they were on the ball with branding it as Satanism. They couldn't cope with the idea of kids playing with cards or on their Game Boys instead of reciting John chapter 3 verse 16 all day long. Now, religious leaders didn't actually have to give reasons as to why Pokemon was a reincarnation of Satan's literal feces. Most Christians have a habit of just believing whatever their pastor or their priest says. So I won't lie when I say I'm impressed that they went the extra mile and gave some actual arguments against Pokemon. So I'll talk about what they have to say. I'll try to make it quick, but it's hard not to laugh at what they have to say. The most obvious example would be the game's evolutionary system, where a Pokemon evolves into a new form once it reaches a certain level. Fundamental Christians are known to turn to dust if you utter the word evolution within 100 miles of them, and they felt that the game was exposing kids to pagan concepts. On top of this, they liken the fact that some Pokemon evolve when exposed to certain stones to many elements of alchemy. Now, it probably is true that many things in Pokemon are inspired by alchemy, but this does not mean in any way that a demon is leeching off of a child's soul as they play Pokemon. Same goes for evolution. You may not believe in it, but guess what? Pokemon isn't real. It's completely fictitious. So get that into your head. Another pagan-related fear was Pokemon like Hypno. Hypno is based on a Baku, which is a Japanese mythological creature that feeds off of dreams. This one mainly just shows that Christians can't tolerate other cultures, shown by their lack of understanding of something like this. Many psychic and ghost-type Pokemon that possess supernatural powers were likened to, yep, you guessed it, demons. Specifically demons from the Lesser Key of Solomon, an ancient text which gives instructions on how to summon evil entities from other dimensions, and has many illustrations of them and what they look like. Obviously, the content of these scriptures hold no truth, but apparently people saw the demonic content in it and thought, yes, this reminds me of Pikachu. Sorry, it's just, I don't know, this is all so ridiculous. I missed out on Gen 6 because of this. In Pokemon, the more gym badges you have, the stronger Pokemon you can command. So I know what you're thinking. Silas, this is just a piece of game designed to prevent players from grinding to a stupidly high level then sweeping the rest of the gym leaders. Nope. Apparently, badges are like the magical talisman, the Seal of Solomon, which was believed to give Solomon the power to command demons themselves. God, where do they come up with this stuff? Do they just hate any activity that isn't going to church? Hey, Lil Timmy, is that Pokemon you got for your 4th birthday? Yeah, well, you, Timmy. I hope you enjoy fist-fucking demons so you can spend the rest of eternity kicking it with bloody Beelzebub. Anyway, Leviticus chapter 19 verse 31 says, "Give no regard to mediums and familiar spirits. Do not seek after them to be defiled by them. I am the Lord your God." Obviously, the mediums and familiar spirits must be psychic type Pokemon, because God forbid you watch out for, I don't know, real demons instead of Pokemon. On top of all this nonsense, there are some urban legends circulating that the Christians grabbed onto like leprechauns and his pot of lucky gold. For example, there was a story that some children heard faint voices and passed out after eating some crisps with Pokemon toys in them. Many people decided that this was related to the demonic energy which surrounded the bags of crisps, and never bothered to consider any other possibilities, like maybe food poisoning, or like any other reason that makes actual sense. Despite this obviously being bullshit, many occult crime units in the States confiscated Pokemon toys for investigation, and some teachers who must clearly be very bright in the head banned any Pokemon accessories from school. And yeah, there's also the Lavender Town myth that you likely already know if you're watching this. At some point, a myth started on the internet about 7 to 12-year-olds in Japan killing themselves after hearing the creepy Lavender Town song. Whilst I agree, the song is very creepy, this story is completely false. There is no obituaries for any of these children who have killed themselves because of Pokemon. But some Christians believed it simply because they wanted to. But let's move on to maybe some better news. In the year 2000, a fateful day came for the suffering Pokemon fan. The highest religious authority, the Vatican, conducted an investigation into Pokemon, and what did they find? Well, they found that there was nothing satanic about Pokemon at all. And they were probably reminded during the investigation how idiotic some of their followers could be. In fact, the Pope went as far as to give the franchise his full blessing. For many young fans, this was probably the key they were waiting for, maybe even a bit of divine grace. But this could never dispel all suspicions, and many Christians kept their ridiculous hatred towards Pokemon and let their kids suffer. Protestant Christians like my family don't give a rat's ass about what the Pope says, and I had to endure a little longer. My story in this ends with me becoming old enough to realize my mom is a bit of a fucking idiot, and I was able to just go out and buy the games I missed. It really was crazy to find out the narrative a powerful enough organization can spin on something as simple as Pokemon. And if you couldn't tell, the motivation behind this video is definitely fueled by childhood bitterness. I think others affected could agree with me when I say that completely barring a kid from something they love for a reason that makes absolutely no sense to them can really mess with their mental health. It can fuel resentment and even create trust issues. Christians were worried that their kids would be indoctrinated into Satanism by a work of fiction, which is pretty rich coming from them. In their paranoia, they probably messed up a lot of kids. But you know how you can help fix my childhood scars? By subscribing to my channel for videos on Pokemon and other games too. Dropping a like would also help me as well, and leave a comment if you had any similar experiences about this topic. I think I'll wrap this one up here, but I hope you learned something about Christianity versus Pokemon.